As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Hooters McGee.
Hooters McGee. There we go. Bear with me, everybody that's listening. I've got no voice. Well, more voice than I had earlier this week. We've been putting off podcasting pretty much day by day, me thinking that my voice is going to get better overnight. It hasn't. So this has been a rough week for your boy Shoots McGoots.
Yeah. It's, look, I think 2 weeks ago you said you had this sexy, raspy voice going on, and I thought you sounded nasally.
It was longer ago than that. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Time just
I think,
combines
you know
together.
what it is? It's probably just karma for me picking on Canada, although
I
we're
got
getting
a
it
bone to pick with
again.
Canada. Yeah, I was going to bring it up, actually. You know what, Canada? You've done sent the smoke down to Philly again.
Is it the same fire?
It is, I believe, which is
That
really
sucks.
sad. Yeah, it's super sad.
I don't know how airflow works, but, like 2 weeks later, here we go again.
It's a swirl.
Get it.
All right, it's a swirl because the low pressure system combined with the high pressure system with the jet stream, and as it's coming across the mid-Atlantic, the coastal flow, gravity.
Gravity.
There you go. And that's, look,
And then it went out to the Atlantic Ocean and sunk a submarine.
I took a meteorology class
Yeah.
in junior college. So
There we go.
I know what I'm talking about, but I just got back from getting a tattoo. So if you're watching us on YouTube, it looks like I don't even know. It's too much tape, as you pointed out, for me to be taping up for like a game.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe like a zombie invasion, so I can't get bit.
Could
on the
be. Like a
forearm.
rash guard. Yeah, it could
Yeah.
be.
Like if you try to,
Or it's like you
clamp it
burnt
out.
yourself while cooking something.
Maybe that seems most plausible. Maybe I'll tell
Leaned on a
people that.
grill.
I leaned on my grill whilst cooking, so yeah. But I got a new fresh tat, fresh ink. It says Shooter Magooter across my arm in script.
It says
font.
influencer.
Yeah, Shooter Magooter hashtag influenced this tattoo. That's what it says.
Do a tattoo bet at some point in this podcast.
But quick plug before I forget, July 26th, we are less than a month away from our live show. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, now is the time to get it. We are announcing our guests within the next couple of weeks, so pay attention to our socials. But it's going to be an absolute blast. We've got a really good lineup of guests. We've already sold a bunch of tickets. So if you haven't gotten it yet, nofilterlive.com. Get your tickets now. Come see us, Zach Peter, and some special guests at the City Winery in Manhattan, July 26th.
I think what's going to happen, and this, you'd be smart to get your ticket now because once we announce the guests that day or the day after, it's going to sell out completely. So get ahead of it. We're not going to, we'll give you a heads up when we're going to announce them.
Yeah.
But you might not have more than a 24-hour window there. So get the tickets now so that you can get ahead of that storm. And then you'll be able to get in there and see all those special guests. You can come see us, hang out. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah. So get your tickets. I don't know what you're waiting for. Get your
Get
tickets. Get them. Go get them.
Go get them.
But speaking of storms, it's been raining here for 6 weeks, and my basement will not stop flooding, and Shooter's car won't stop flooding.
Yeah, I feel like there's just been a rain cloud following me personally for the last week.
Is it you?
It's probably me, honestly,
You
and
brought
you by
this.
proximity.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because you live near me now, so you brought this dark cloud with you.
Yeah, no, it's been a rough week. My car was flooding. I thought it was my windshield. I had my windshield replaced 2 weeks ago because I got hit with a golf ball while nowhere near a golf hole. I was parked at a golf course, but whatever happens. And then, then my car started flooding. Apparently it was the sunroof, which was then causing a short in my battery. And then my car wouldn't start pretty much every day. Couldn't figure it out. Finally figured it out. And now I'm just raspy as hell. Rough week for the boys.
Yeah, tough week. No, don't lump me in with you. My week was fine. I take that
Flooded.
back.
Yeah.
The flood. I had a horrible week. Yeah. And I think you recounting yours, I was like, oh, well, I'll take the high road. No, my week sucked. Poppy left Sunday. The basement flooded. Yeah, everything sucks. Your car
Tough
flooded.
week.
Oh, wow. I had a cheerful disposition before this conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't have brought these things up.
All going down. Well, no, we talk about them, put it out into the universe, and then maybe it'll get pushed away.
This is our therapy. Talking to all of yous is our therapy. That's what we're doing. We are being open and vulnerable so that you guys know what we're going through, because it's been a hell of a week. It's been such a bad week. I forgot it was a bad week. That's a new
That is
phenomenon.
new. Yeah. Wow.
We're off the rails.
Sad boys.
Sad boys. Welcome to the Sad Bros. Let's cheer it up a little bit. All right, let's get into our rose and thorn. I'm not even going to do a thorn this week because I'm trying to bring up the vibes. Last week was multiple thorns.
So I wasn't even going to, my thorn is just this week, and we just talked about that.
That's
and
my
like,
thorn.
it's just been overshadowing everything. So I don't even care what comments are saying at this point. It is what it is. It's just been a shit week, you know?
That's your rose and thorn for the
My
week?
rose and thorn for the week is it's been a shit week. So cheer me up next week, and then I'll come back with double roses and no thorns, all right?
I had a very big rose for me because
I know.
I've had to read these. I've had to listen to you read these. And look, I'm not saying I need a pat on the ass. I don't need fake rah-rah sportsmanship, but just a little acknowledgement is nice. And somebody finally commented in a review from Runtage, Steel is my favorite. I've left a review before, always 5 stars because I love you guys. I had to make a new 5-star review just to say that Steel is my favorite. I know you said you're getting so many reviews saying Shooter is the favorite, but my favorite is Steel. I like this for 2 reasons. One, she says my favorite is Steel multiple times. I can't hear that enough. Steel is my favorite. My favorite is Steel. Steel is my favorite. That's all listed in there. Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to say
It's frowned upon to review your own podcast, right?
This comes from S. Russell. Weird. That's so simple. That's weird. But that's my rose. It felt nice that I'm the favorite for once.
Good. I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
That seemed condescending.
I'm happy for you.
That sounds like a Heather Dubrow talking to Taylor Armstrong. I'm happy for it. Aw.
Aw.
You got a
So cute.
good review.
That is a really cute review.
Good.
That is a really cute
fuck
review.
you. Bless your heart. That's like a bless your heart moment. Aw, bless your heart. You got a
Yeah,
nice
well.
review. Don't do that. Don't do what you're doing. You're belittling.
I'm not doing anything. It's just I have a monotone right now because I'm trying to keep my voice even keeled. When I get elated, if you will, I start to crack. So I got to keep it chill.
You got to stay chill or you hit puberty.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
But that takes us to the news, and it's been kind of a slow everything in the Bravo world as far as shows, as far as news go. But we got a little bit of news coming out. One, Vanderpump has started filming again. Raquel is still a question mark. We put a poll out that was a question. Will Raquel come back? Yes, no. And the third option was she shouldn't come back. That got the most votes by far. It was a very big margin of, I think, between yes and no, more people said yes. Which is surprising. And then between yes, no, and she shouldn't got, I think, 65%.
I think I was confused by it. Now I get it. I was definitely confused by the question because I was like, isn't no the same thing as she shouldn't? But the question was, will she come back?
She come back?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you and I both agree that she probably shouldn't come back for her own mental psyche. But I'm in the feeling that she definitely will come back. We were talking about this on our YouTube Live last night, and I kind of formulated an idea of who I think Raquel is as a person, which is kind of tough to do, honestly, because who the fuck knows what she is. But I gathered this idea of her thinking that her family might be in her corner, telling her what to do. Usually, when things are rough in your life, you might turn towards your family and say, what should I do? What do you guys think? She grew up in pageants. And one thing that I know, and I think, wasn't there a Bravo show about pageants at some point in time? Was it on Bravo or like E or something?
Oh, are you talking about the one with like the little girls in the pageant? No, that was on.
I might be also thinking of Dance Moms too.
They're all one and the same.
With Abby, whatever the hell her name is.
It's the same idea.
Yeah, same idea, same kind of concept. And after watching parents like that do those things, those parents are crazy. Like for the most part. Now, I mean, I'm sure there's some out there that are like, hey, it's kind of fun. My family did it, whatever. But a lot of them are nuts. And they're pushing their child to stardom, pushing their child to go all out and make sure that they're in the spotlight at all times. That's the vibe I get after hearing what James said about Raquel's family during the reunion and how Raquel portrays herself. So I do think that she will come back at some point this season. She'll do that awkward, like little side wave, like, hi, and walk into a group setting and act like nothing's wrong. I don't want her to come back because I want Sandoval to just face it all by himself.
Yeah.
And once she comes back, he'll have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing other people just space themselves away. Like Schwartz is like, I'm done with all of Scandival. Now, he didn't say Sandoval, but he said Scandival. So he might be spacing himself away from Tom. Obviously, other people are going to be very far away from him. So I want him to face that alone and not have somebody to talk to. Because once she comes back, then we're going to get those awkward one-on-ones, and I don't want to see that.
No, that's fair. And I think it's a good thing to point out because of the pageant mindset. Maybe this is, I'm not going to say that her family's going to push her into it, but they might be a little more comfortable with chaos just because they've done the pageant circuit for so long. So maybe this isn't like, I don't know. I hope that her family are good enough people to be like, you don't need to do this show anymore. Like, regardless of how you feel about Raquel, if she is having mental issues as a result of Scandival, don't re-enter that space just for a paycheck.
Right.
That seems kind of silly. But, I mean, time will tell. We'll see. The only other thing is we had the Hilton sisters come back together. They made nice at Kimosabi. They had 2 bottles of tequila, one labeled Kathy's tequila, one labeled, whose was it? The Jenners?
Yeah, it was Kendall Jenner's.
Kendall Jenner's tequila. They laughed. Kathy took responsibility for her part, and they moved on. Seemingly, I think we got another clip of the 3 sisters all together at somebody's wedding.
Yeah,
I
it
think
seems
they're-
like they're coming back together. Now, I mean, Kathy already said that she's not coming back in any capacity to Beverly Hills this year,
I wonder if
which
that,
I think is good.
maybe that had something to do with them reconnecting.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be good for their relationship because when there's cameras involved, and obviously you get
Drama.
Erica Jane trying to drive a wedge in there, Rinna, it's just a complete mess. So I think it's better for them, for their relationship to stay apart, at least on film, on camera. But you saw Kathy looking at Kyle and saying, you know, it wasn't your fault. After I rewatched it, I realized it wasn't your fault. And she was the one holding Kendall's tequila. So she's making a big joke about it all, which is always good to see. And on camera, she apologized, which, I mean, we kind of saw that last year when she had to sit down.
Yeah, sort
When
of.
Rinna was there for whatever fucking reason. But yeah, I hope they mend their fences and get moving forward and have a, you know, good family from here on out. You know, that's all I have to say.
Interesting to me that Rinna's no longer in the picture and they've made up.
Yeah.
That just
Well, that's the thing. Like, I always wonder that when housewives leave a show, like, do you think that Rinna and Kyle are hanging out a lot still?
I don't. No. They, at least immediately after the show stopped filming, I know that they were on the outs for a while. I haven't heard that they reconnected yet.
Right.
I know the last I heard they were not cool. I haven't heard otherwise. So I don't know.
Yeah, because I feel like that's got to be one of those things when Bravo's making these decisions. They probably do ask the housewives that are going to stay on, like, hey, what do you think about next season? No Rinna. Like, if Kyle didn't fight for her, Rinna's probably pissed off.
Oh, I wonder if that does a thing.
I think about those things, yeah.
That's an interesting concept. I don't know. That would be, I don't know. When
Probably. If you've
you
been on a
ask-
show for long enough, like if, say, somebody was going to leave Potomac, obviously they're going to ask Karen. If somebody's going to leave Jersey, well, maybe not after this year, but if somebody's going to leave Jersey in the past, they're going to ask Teresa. So those mainstays that have been there for years, I feel like Bravo's going to lean on them and say, what do you think the show's going to look like without this person?
Without further ado, let's get into the Bravo. Up first, we are finishing up our first year, well, the first year of Summer House Martha's Vineyard. I really enjoyed this show. I'm not going to say I loved it, but I really liked this show. I think it has a lot of potential. It has a really fun cast. I think it has an exciting cast. It has a cast that I feel like I've connected with more so just as far as like resonating with. And I think that might be because of the age group.
I have an idea
Okay.
for Summer House specifically, because we're tired of the OG Summer House and they're trying to do all these moving parts and whatever. We liked Martha's Vineyard, but I can see a path in the future where we don't like Martha's Vineyard after the 5th or 6th season. Why don't we just take Summer House in a bottle and every year have a new cast, like Real World? Every
Oh.
year do a new cast, and then you can have spin-offs from that where they do Summer House Legends. And then all of a sudden you're seeing Nick and fucking Silas in with Kyle and Carl and whoever else.
So you're almost
you put
setting
them
it up
together.
as like a Bachelor universe, and
No, it's more of a Real World universe. Not,
Okay.
I guess Bachelor probably does that too, right?
well, you got Bachelor in Paradise, you got the
Yeah.
Bachelor, the Bachelorette.
but, I mean, people watch that, so like, why not?
Do they?
I think so. We don't talk about it, but it happens.
I don't think that that would be a terrible idea. I just think that, again, that goes completely away from what Bravo has been used to doing and pivoting and
That might
changing
be a good
things.
thing.
I'm trying to get to that part.
Yeah.
pivoting and changing things is not their strong suit.
Oh, nice.
That's what I was going to say, and you cut me off. But let's get into Martha's Vineyard. The first thing we start out with, and it's not surprising, Jasmine is struggling with the marriage. She's struggling meeting Silas halfway, but that's how she's describing it. She's doing her part. From us, the viewer watching, she's doing her part. She's doing what she believes a wife should do for her husband. She's miserable while doing it because it's this antiquated idea of what a wife is. It's ridiculous, actually. But I don't see any fault with Jasmine here. I've seen moments in which she's tried to be nice. She's tried to bridge this gap. Silas refuses to bend the knee in any way, shape, or form. And it's really frustrating watching these scenes because he's in the kitchen and he starts bitching and moaning about his fucking routine again. If I hear about the routine next season, I might have to turn off that episode because I'm sick of it. He's like, this is just not going to do it for me. I haven't eaten since like 8 a.m. Go to the kitchen and make some food, bro. That's not like, I don't know why he shares this with people thinking that they're going to agree with him or be on the same side as him. Like, oh yeah, we get it, man. Why hasn't she gotten her ass down here and made you breakfast yet? That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. It's one thing to try to put yourself in the mind that he has, thinking about this traditional quote unquote marriage where she's going to do everything for you as far as cooking meals and doing your laundry and whatever. And I did appreciate that, at least editing wise, producing wise, they showed Jasmine in the beginning of the season, the first episode. She said that she views herself as a stay-at-home wife. She likes doing those things. But we can see that she has changed. And I didn't really like her the first couple episodes. I just saw her as her and Silas kind of teaming up. And I wasn't into it. They kept putting the fact that they were married over everything else, like to other people, holding that above their head. And I hated it. But Jasmine has kind of pulled away from all of that as Silas has pissed her off. So maybe this is just the longest that they've been like on vacation together. Maybe this is like they never really go on group setting vacations. I don't really know where that all is, but you can put all of that aside. The fact that he's coming to other guys in this day and age and trying to complain about his wife not cooking for him and he has to get into his goddamn routine is crazy. He has no sense of like where other men's minds are these days, especially these guys. Like we talk about it all the time. These guys are like more forward thinking than probably any other group of guys on Bravo. For the most part, you get all the house husbands, like they're kind of all dicks and they're stuck in the past. You get all the other guys on like Summer House, Southern Charm, like a lot of them are kind of dicks. These guys are forward thinking. They're nice to each other for the most part. They try to resolve things, which is crazy.
They seem to care about each other's emotions.
They care about each other's emotions. They get to talk to each other. It's wild to watch. And Silas thinks that he's going to be able to bitch about his wife to these guys and come out on top. Like, no, dude, they're looking at you like you're an asshole. They just called you out the other day because you didn't have your wedding ring on and you told your wife that she wasn't allowed to accept free drinks, but you were allowed to accept free drinks. They chastise you for that. Yeah. Why do you think you can come down the next day and complain that she hasn't cooked you dinner or lunch or whatever?
Or what?
It's crazy.
Meal, any food whatsoever. And we get a quick reprieve. They have a nice scene where they go on a history trail that recounts the history of African Americans within Martha's Vineyard. And I didn't know about all the history behind Martha's Vineyard, so I appreciated this scene.
I also really love that the curator for the tour asked where everybody was from, and they're like, oh yeah, from all over, Texas, New York, and then Simon's German ass in the back, Germany.
Süddeutschland. I'm from Süddeutschland. Overseas. Somebody commented and gave me props for my accents, and they didn't say that I sounded like, what did you say?
Will Forte and Beer Fest, yeah.
Although I think I kind of do. But we're back at the house, and they're setting up for the party, and immediately we're back into Silas's bullshit, because the first thing he says when he walks in is, I'm starving. It's like, well, then eat food, you big man baby. Like, go eat some fucking food. Go have a fucking cracker. Yeah. Go have a cheese and crackers like anybody does on vacation. Just shovel that shit in your mouth. When you get done an activity on vacation, that's what you do. You go to the fridge, grab something that's left over, shovel it in your face, and then go get ready to be presentable for like a more defined affair, if you will.
Well put.
Thank you. I know. But he's in there bitching about the food, and then he goes upstairs, and this part was crazy because he's getting ready. They're just getting ready for the evening. That's something that I've done a million times. I've gotten myself dressed. I've gotten my clothes out. I've ironed clothes occasionally. I've steamed them from time to time. And guess what? I've always been able to do it by myself. It's shocking, but I can do it. Silas is bitching and moaning because she wasn't upstairs for him to get ready. He literally says, why would you leave when I have to get ready? Because, bitch, You need to get ready. She's fucking ready. Why is it her job to steam your shit? Why is it her job to do all of that? I understand if there has been a conversation and you guys have a routine, she does this, you do that, whatever. If you deviate from the plan, it should not be a moment of contention. It should be oh, good, I'm glad that you're chilling because we're on vacation. You don't need to do this shit for me. I can handle this by myself. Don't worry about it. Go downstairs, have a drink. I'll see you in 5.
Yeah, he even said to her, I can't believe that you got your dress ready. You got all your stuff ready, but you didn't get any of my stuff ready.
What a fucking
like,
crazy
why would she
guy.
leave the house without getting my stuff ready? And I know that, like, maybe to some people, we might sound like a broken record because we just keep talking about Silas and his wild ideas of how his marriage should be. But I think it's important that we harp on it because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, expecting your wife to do all of these things for you and getting mad like a big man child that your clothes aren't ready. Dude, you just made the biggest stink about her ironing your pants the other day and getting a smudge on them. Why the hell do you think she's going to grab an iron and iron your pants once again? You're just going to bitch about it. So honestly, in Jasmine's mind, the idea of not doing all of those things is probably easier to take than redoing it and having you bitch about her doing it wrong again. At least this way, she didn't have to take the time to do her shit.
And then get berated.
Yeah, either way, she's going to get berated.
Yeah.
So why do the activity without, it makes sense.
I'm glad she at least says the last thing on my mind right now is the routine. Like, I'm glad she said something about the routine because I'm sick of him bringing up the routine. He's like, God, all I just want is acknowledgement. If you want acknowledgement, quit being a dick. Quit being a dick.
If you want acknowledgement, maybe take some fucking PTO, you dickhead. You get
Yeah.
2 weeks off. Everybody gets I have fucking a month and a half off a year that I can take, and I don't take a lot of it. Take the goddamn 2 weeks. Most people in the house are not working the full time. They're doing a couple calls in the morning. Maybe they took a couple days off here and there. I get it. It's 15 days in a row. But if you really think about it, it's like 8 or 9 days of PTO. Just take it off. Your job is not that important. You're a financial analyst. You know how many financial analysts there are in the world?
You know how many
Millions.
You know how many financial analysts there are in each individual firm?
Yeah. Hundreds.
Plenty.
Plenty.
They got
Your
it,
job is not
Silas.
important. You're not a fucking CEO. You do not need to do your work every day, dude. Take the 2 weeks off, get out of your goddamn routine, and move the fuck on.
That's actually a really good point. He acts as though he's an Elon Musk or like
Yeah.
a Steve Jobs, somebody that is so deliberate in your daily routine. And if you have a company like Apple or Tesla or Amazon with Bezos, where you can be like, this is why I am the way that I am, and here's my billions of dollars to show for it, then I will say, okay.
Yeah. Then I
Right.
get it. But
Yeah, you're
at that
still a-
point, you
you're still a
probably
dick,
have
but all
you
right.
probably have like an associate that helps you with the other things, not your fucking wife.
No, not your
Like
wife.
that's it.
Don't
this-
treat her like you're a
And that's the other thing.
Dude.
If he had an important job at Apple, at Google, wherever, then at least maybe I'd give him a little bit of credit. But if he did that, he absolutely would have told us by now, oh, I work for Apple, because that's the kind of guy that he is. No, he works for some like mid-level fucking banking company or some real estate company in Boston or New York, wherever the hell he is, probably getting paid like $75K a year. Just take the fucking days off, dude. Loser.
Fucking weenie. But the next scene is with Jasmine and Jordan. They're discussing Silas. Jasmine's finally opening up a little bit. It's taken the entire, I guess it's only been 15 days, but it's taken the entirety of this trip for her to feel comfortable talking about this stuff with somebody and letting them know, like, hey, I'm not doing awesome. My marriage is not awesome. She kind of peels the veil back a little bit, which allows Jordan to actually connect with her. But it leads into the night, and it's Lux on the bluff, and Alex has a big surprise for Nick, and his girl shows up. Now, we had seen that one scene of Nick sliding into everybody's DMs, and when his girl comes up, there's obviously some glances. There's some people kind of like, oh, I wonder if she knows. But for the
he
most
slipped
part,
into their DMs in 2018. Did you see
I
that?
didn't see the date.
They showed a screenshot of him. The thing that Bria brought up to her was from 2018.
I couldn't believe Bria brought that show.
I do not like
is
Bria
a
at all.
disaster.
I hate Bria.
Yeah, she is.
Her and Silas are at
train
the
wreck.
bottom. Now, I know Silas is even deeper than that, but she's also at the bottom. I
She-
can't
yeah.
stand her.
She is tough, and she pulls Tasia aside, Nick's girlfriend, and they have a conversation. And I was sitting watching this, like, there's no way that she's going to bring this up to her right now. Like, that's just, it's not appropriate. It's not really your place. You don't know Nick well enough to be stepping in like this. Now, if it was damning evidence, like, hey, your man cheated on you, he hooked up with
Well, yeah,
Jordan.
the first night that he was here, sure.
Yeah, like if
But
something
no.
like that happened, then yeah, that I understand girl code. Like, hey, I need to tell you this. I know I don't know you, but Now, if you have, and I didn't even know that the DMs were from 2018.
Yeah,
That
they showed the
changes everything.
screenshot.
So if you're going to try to start some shit over a 5-year-old DM, what's your angle? What's your motive here? And clearly, you're not trying to do this to be nice. Like, this is not you trying to look out for Tasia.
No.
Clearly, this is you trying to start some shit.
And I love Tasia's response to it. It was the most
great.
like
It was
forthright,
great.
standing by my relationship. No time for your dumb bullshit, Bria. I'm moving the hell on.
Yeah, she
It was
goes,
awesome.
I have zero doubts about Nick, and
Yeah.
didn't leave it open-ended for a response. Didn't leave any wiggle room. It's like, I have zero doubts, aka, please shut the fuck up. Don't speak on my business because it's none of your business.
Yeah.
And I love that. That was a good.
And look,
standing
even if she has her thoughts about it, she shouldn't. That's what I love about this. Like, you'll see people do that, and I don't deserve to know how she actually feels about her relationship with Nick. She didn't sign up for the show. Nick did.
Yeah. that's a
So
good
if
point.
she shows up as the girlfriend, spouse, whatever, wants to show up and have some fun for a night, we don't need to get into all that. Bria using the advantage of, well, this is a TV show, so I'm going to talk about it, and people are going to start talking about how I'm a cavalier for like other women in relationships. Look at me. Like, no, you look like an asshole.
She does, and then she continues to look like an asshole because this whole situation between her and Simon was banana-land.
Yeah.
She walks by Simon. She's carrying her dog by the leash, and she yells at Simon and says, "Why am I taking care of this dog?" Implying like, this is your job, Simon. I agreed with Simon a little bit, in which, look, is he acting like an idiot? Absolutely. He jumped in the pool with his suit on. No one, it's not that kind of party.
I thought that
Doesn't
was
seem
hilarious.
like that was the
No,
vibe.
but it was hilarious.
But I did hear what he was saying with like, you disrespect me. The way you talk to me is very disrespectful. You demand things, you command me, you put me down in front of other people, you talk bad about me when you're not agreeing with me. Like, I deserve better than that. She loses her mind. And they're getting into it. And Summer comes over and Bria goes in the house, and then Summer starts having a conversation with Simon. She's having this conversation on Bria's behalf.
Yeah.
This is to benefit Bria in the long run. Bria goes inside and she calls her mom, which is just, that's fucked up.
It's childish.
It's so childish to call your mom to bitch and moan about your boyfriend who's about to walk in the house, and then you're going to scream at him to shut the fuck up. He's embarrassing you in front of your mom. But the funny shit to me is the mom says, don't embarrass him. So it's like, oh, this is a pattern. We've seen this before, whether it's with Simon or with previous boyfriends. Bria seems to do this with her dudes.
Yeah. No, I mean, and she tried to boil it down to, I asked him nicely to just watch my dog for a minute while I walked around and got some
No,
food.
you
Like,
didn't.
no, you didn't. You walked over and told him, why am I watching this dog? It's your fucking dog. You decided to bring the dog up instead of giving it to a family member or friend for the week or two. You could have done anything. You wanted to bring your dog with you. Put the dog up in the room. What's the worst that can happen? He might pee again? Oh no, Silas is going to be really mad. Who cares? It's not his room. Just leave the dog upstairs. Go have fun. Don't belittle your boyfriend in front of everybody. Pull him aside and say, dude, that was really embarrassing. Why did you jump in that pool? If he then gets mad about it, then that's kind of on him, because that was kind of embarrassing. If my significant other just started screaming at the top of their lungs and jumped into a pool fully clothed, I'd be like, might be kind of funny. I don't know. Not my shit. Whatever. Who cares? But Bria has an issue with it. She's embarrassed by it. Pull him aside and talk to him one-on-one. Don't do it in front of everybody. It gets nowhere. That's your relationship. If anything, they're going to judge your relationship, not Simon for being an idiot.
No, I think they're going to 100% put it on Bria, and she doesn't help herself because Summer goes upstairs because she hears things escalating, and she's trying to talk to Bria. She's trying to have a very calm conversation about what she just talked to Simon about outside. And again, she was being an advocate for Bria outside. She goes inside to discuss it with Bria. Bria loses her shit. She's like accusing her of not being her actual girl because she's outside talking to Simon. You're with my man out there because you want to be with him. And then all that stupid shit starts coming up. And then Bria makes contact. I want to be very clear about that. The first shove was Bria. All right. It was very clearly Bria. She's the one that got escalated. She's the one that moved this to a different level. And then when she's sitting upstairs with producers, she has the nerve to say, I'm so sick of people putting hands on me. It's like, no, 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 no. That's a dangerous thing to do. It's a little moment, and it's not going to be any bigger than it is.
Also on film. She probably feels very silly watching all of this.
I hope
if she's even watching it.
I really
because
hope
after
so.
watching, if you get to actually watch the conversation that Summer and Simon had, You get to watch you charge Summer and shove her and then try to fight through a bunch of people to get to her. Because what? Because Summer was talking to your boyfriend
about
you on your side. Like, you're an idiot.
The episode ends with they're wrapping up the summer and everything, but the scene between Silas, of course, we have to really end with Silas and Jasmine because
Always.
the way that he talks to her is so demeaning. It's so misogynistic, arguably. Just like how he's talking to her is trying to make her feel stupid. And I think there's nothing more disrespectful than talking to a person in this manner, especially if that person's your significant other. It's making them out to be beneath you. Like, you're not going to talk to your husband. Like, what are you going to do about it, motherfucker? By the way, she's just stating like how she feels because you've put her in a terrible situation.
How have you been talking to your wife?
Exactly.
Like,
fucking exactly. Open the door. Why do you have to shut the door to have these conversations then? Why don't you let everybody in the house hear how you talk to her?
Yeah.
Hear how you clap your fucking hands like a big, strong, bad man. Are you a big, tough guy, buddy? Tough guy, Silas?
I saw somebody DM us, and they said that it was a girl and her husband, I think, both served in the military, and they said they were both cracking up at Silas because apparently he said he got to whatever rank in such a short amount of time, and they said it would be impossible to do that.
That's not surprising.
So he's just lying about what he was.
He's the guy that would do that. Like, anybody that's going to walk into the bathroom and escalate a situation after Jasmine has tried to remove herself from the situation because you feel like you've been scorned in bed because your wife's not taking care of you and making you food because you're a big bitch. The funniest thing with Silas, dude, his idea of what being a man is and being this big tough guy, my wife takes care of X, Y, and Z because that's what women do, is the most like bitch behavior in the fucking planet. Like on earth. You cannot be more of a bitch than a man that cannot take care of himself. One, a man that cannot provide for others in a calm and kind way. Two, if you want to quote unquote be a man as you're trying to be, Silas, stop being such a fucking baby back bitch. Tend to your wife, tend to your relationship. Stop telling her to do all your shit for you.
I bet when they go out to dinner, if his dinner comes out incorrectly, he sits there quietly and expects Jasmine to report it to the waiter.
I bet.
And if she doesn't, he gets mad at her.
I bet that if they get that, like, they could go to a TGI Fridays, and if her food comes out first, he will not let her eat until his food is out.
That's a good point.
Even if it's like Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, it doesn't matter. No matter how small the meal is, like, you don't eat until I eat.
That's a good point.
That's what I think. That takes us to Atlanta. And up first, we're Hotlanta. Thank you. We're with Drew. She's at home and she's getting ready for the music video. We learn a little bit about Drew's sister. And obviously, we're new to this show, so this is news to us. But I guess her sister was her manager. This doesn't make a lot of sense. I need to know the ages because she says
that her manager since 8.
Yeah. Like how, I'm not saying that she's not significantly older or at least like 5 to 10 years older.
She's got to be at least, I would imagine, like 10 years older.
I hear manager, I'm thinking she's 20 at least when she's 8.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the case.
She could have got started at 18. Who knows?
You think she's a 13-year-old manager?
Maybe. Who knows?
I'm picturing like her on like a little phone and like a little power suit, like, my client.
That would be funny. No, but the funny thing that came from this scene was Drew yelling at her Alexa to play her song. My Alexa went off.
Oh, really?
Because she kept saying it. Yes.
Did Drew Sidora come on? Or
no, Dora the Explorer came on.
Nice. What was the other one that came on?
I forget what hers.
Was it Travis Scott?
No. I forget what ended up coming up on hers. But yeah, Dora the Explorer started playing on my Alexa. It was crazy.
But we learned about her sister. I guess she had a kind of a mental breakdown at some point and went to a facility to try to get better. It's funny to me because that's not funny to me. This is funny to me that she had made comments in the past. I guess her and Ralph are not totally cool because she had said before that he's kind of manipulating and he's demanding and a couple other unsavory words. But the way that Ralph handles this situation is manipulative.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, she's not wrong, dude, because for you to come into the kitchen and play victim the way that you are, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay in this house when she's here. Like, I don't know if I can handle that. It's like, dude, it's been a long time. She has been to a facility, a mental care facility to get better. You're telling me that you can't bite the bullet for your wife and shut the fuck up and let her reconnect with her sister who's going through a lot because she said some shit. Again, she said shit to you that you didn't like and then checked into a mental health facility.
Yeah.
So maybe let's not take that 100%. Maybe let's take that with a grain of salt, buddy.
He's making it about himself. And if it's between two sisters who have a long history, take yourself out of it. Like, I'm not saying that you need to be an active participant and you need her to apologize to you immediately, but let the two of them try to figure it out. Take a step back, still be there present, and let it happen. Like, what do you want her to do? You want her to just be alienated from her sister her entire life? Like, no. If her sister went to a mental health facility and she wants to get back into the family, at least back into some good graces, give her the opportunity to do so. It's not like she just went off on her own, did her own thing for a while, and now she wants to get back. Like, no, she took some steps, see what happens. If she's still kind of an asshole to you, then you have an issue.
Yeah.
Give her the chance at least.
You need to give her the chance instead of manipulating the situation, making yourself out to be a victim and trying to pull at Drew's sympathy strings because you want to get a reaction. Like, that is manipulative behavior. That's what that is, Ralph. So you proved her point in one scene, but we get a quick check-in with Marlo at Lay Archive, and she's doing, I thought this was cool. And like, again, I'm not the biggest Marlo fan, but I think that it was cool that Marlo, who comes from foster care, is taking the time to do this Foster Friday thing. And I don't know exactly what it is, but it seemed to be her speaking with a foster child or a former foster child and asking about their experiences, how to make that experience better. What should future foster parents know when they're fostering on how to make it a better experience for the child? I think that's cool. Using her platform, she knows she has a lot of followers. She knows that she's going to get some traction here. So again, regardless how you feel about Marlo, and you guys have made it very clear that not everyone likes Marlo, you have to respect stuff like this, because even if you're a shitty character, it doesn't matter as long as you're using your platform for better. We appreciate that, and we will always call that out. But this is something that maybe you can speak on, because Sonia says that she feels like nobody else really knows Marlo. No one knows the Marlo that she knows, because every time anything happens, Marlo is too reactive, so they can't get to know her. Do you feel like you have had the chance to get to know Marlo in a way that like maybe the other people have not? So maybe you have a better grasp on it. So you know
I
her
think
good
I
side.
do. Honestly,
Oh, really
I
well.
really do think I do. No, I think that Marlo is. I think that Sonia said it correctly. I think that Marlo is very reactive, and we've seen this in the past with other housewives where they will blow up in the moment and then give you an apology, and you and I will sit here and talk about whether the apology was genuine. I think that Marlo's apologies after the fact are pretty genuine. I think that once, if something happens and she's reactive to it, she gives it enough time to settle. And then when she comes back, she is even keeled. Sometimes the other party is not even keeled, as we see later with Drew. But I think that deep down, when Marlo is a friend of yours and she's a friend of Sonia's and she's cool with Sheree, you get to see that she is kind of cool. And if you don't bring up her past all the time, she gets to know you a little bit better and she can be a pretty good friend.
I can't wait to read the comments about why you're wrong, but
I don't care.
And she's talking about the conversations that were had after the defuse the bomb thing. And she is, and she does this a lot. She's misquoting what Kandi actually said, because the way Marlo says it is that she said, fuck my dead nephew and fuck those flowers. All she said was, fuck your flowers.
No. So Marlo didn't say that. Marlo said, when she said "fuck those flowers," what she means is "fuck your dead nephew."
Right, but
which isn't any better. But what I'm saying is that Marlo didn't say that Kandi specifically said that, because that would be terrible.
Okay, but it's still not a good thing to say.
No, it's not. No,
it's not correct. But regardless, and this is getting kind of tired in my mind anyway. I'm ready to move on from this, because it doesn't even seem like it's an issue for Marlo anymore. Now it just seems like she's trying to like piece it together so she can go through the finish line with it. But I'm sick of it. What I am interested in, Marlo's talking about her date.
Yeah,
she has a first date in 4 years. She's been a mom for the past 4 years, is what she's done. She's had to learn how to be a mom. And I appreciate the fact that we do see scenes of Marlo trying to be a better parent. Like, she's actively going out and doing things and like taking classes and journaling and all this shit to be a better mom. That's cool. It's not cool when there are rumors about you out there that you may or may not be a gold digger or a high-end escort, and then when they ask you what's important about the guy you're about to go on a date with, and the first thing you say is money, you better be familiar with Chanel and or believe in Chanel and Hermes, better
Hermes.
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 I love that you're laughing at me as though you're some fucking fashionista.
You legit, I can see an Hermes book over there.
There's
A
one
what?
there. There's a blanket on that bench right there. There's another thing in the cupboard over here. So if you want to sit here and talk about how I pronounce it,
First
it
off,
don't
you
fucking
didn't
matter.
buy them. Devin did.
How do you know?
Because she can at least pronounce it
How
correctly.
do you know what I am knowledgeable on and not knowledgeable on as far
Because
as
I've
that
known you
stuff?
for 20 years.
That doesn't mean shit. I have,
Okay.
you know what?
I know all I need to know the way that you pronounced it. Okay.
I'm not playing this game. I feel gaslit right now. But if I pronounced it a little wrong, does not mean I'm less familiar with it.
Like, when's Devin's birthday and you go get her a bag or something, you walk into Longchamp?
Wow, you're trying to flex on me now. Now you're gonna flex a name like you're gonna brand drop.
First off, I am
make you feel
the
better?
fashionista
No, you're
of the
not.
Prov Bros. I certainly am.
How?
Competition's not that hard.
But we're with Kandi and Sheree, and they're on a bench in the park. They're talking. Sheree shows up, decked to the nines, which I appreciated that she got dressed up to go on a quote unquote walk, but they end up sitting on the bench, and they're just trying to move forward. Now, they're trying to squash the beef between the two of them, and Sheree just explains why she felt slighted. And her explanation made sense to me. Regardless of how She by Sheree is doing, Kandi has a massive following, like at 8 to 10 million,
Yeah.
something crazy. So even if it was not maliciously intended when she said what she said about She by Sheree, her saying anything negative, whether it's in jest or not, could have a negative impact on Sheree's business because of her following. That makes sense to me.
Well, what business? I mean, she's not doing anything.
She's
been around.
clothes.
I know, but she's been around. There's no chance in hell she's making a profit. It just keeps drumming along.
But she said she's not making a profit, so I also
I
appreciate she's
and I
being
appreciate
genuine.
that. The way that I can see both sides. I get both sides. I understand. Like, if you're Sheree and one of your friends on the show who has a huge following is sort of bashing your business, it's going to be bad for business. I get that. Approach Kandi, which she did. Talk about it. Kandi apologized. Great. From Kandi's side, we do sort of the same thing at the end of our podcast. We get questions from people. That was a presented question from one of her audience, one of her listeners, whatever. And they asked, what's going on? She by Sheree has been a bear that people poke all the time. There's nothing to do. Everybody on the cast has done it. People outside, Andy's done it. Everybody in the Bravoverse has talked about it. It's just an easy punching bag. And I get why Sheree's pissed off because it's been such an easy punching bag. I also understand why Kandi addressed the question. She did it the same way that everybody else has. It's not really that big of a deal. What I do appreciate is Sheree did the right approach. Get Kandi one-on-one.
Yeah.
Get Kandi one-on-one. Do not bring it up. I understand the Gucci lunch, whatever. You're not going to accomplish anything. That whole lunch was stupid. Nothing's going to get resolved at all. You can't do that when she's got Kenya and Drew spouting off. As soon as you bring that up, the two of them are going to start yelling. That's what's going to happen. It doesn't matter. Get her one-on-one. Kandi is a way different person one-on-one than she is in that group setting.
I agree. I just feel like she's more open to talking when she's in a one-on-one setting because she's not going to sit there and try to scream over people.
I also just I don't think that Kandi's going to sit down one-on-one with Marlo ever, really.
No, well, she kind of said that
Not
she's
that
done
she
with
needs
her.
to,
She said that she's done with her. I'm sure we'll get some kind of reconnection at some point, but I did like when Sheree was trying to explain why her website crashed because the explanation starts to get very convoluted and not super believable. She's like, it was a Monday, or was it a Sunday? It's like, ooh.
It's one of my favorite Bravo editing pieces.
It was a
when
good
they do
edit.
that, and they just kind of talk over it.
And then it's just like getting muffled and kind of crazy, and then it doesn't make any sense. But the bottom line and the most important thing that I took from this scene, I love that at the end of this chaotic conversation, they're cool. They both said, Kandi's like, I get why that could be misinterpreted. Like, I wasn't intending to do that, but if I did do that and negatively impact you, like, of course, I am sorry. And they're able to move past it. And I like that we got the drama. We had a resolution to the drama. We moved past the drama. We're not rehashing this shit week after week.
Yeah.
We get a quick scene of Allison arriving to the house. And again, Ralph, nowhere to be seen, which is just a shitty look. You're not coming out on top. You're not proving a point that she slighted you. Again, she just got out of a mental health facility in the past. I don't know how long ago it was, but within the past few years, she's been in a mental health facility to address some of her issues. So maybe give her some grace, like just a little bit, and not even for that relationship, but simply for your wife.
Well, Ralph went to bed before the kids even went to bed.
It's just so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I can't stand
Well, that's
him.
the thing is, Drew and Ralph are divorced.
I know. So like this.
Who
all starts
cares?
to
This guy
track.
sucks.
He does. I think he's a douche nozzle, but whatever. We get to the roller rink and it's for the skate shoot, which is funny because Drew doesn't know how to skate. So I'm curious why you would plan a skating. I'm curious why you would model your video shoot around a roller skating rink, but hey, it looks great. Everybody looks great. I thought it was shitty for Kenya and Manetta to shit on the setting. Like, why do you have to do that? Like, this looks like a bootleg whatever video. Like, it doesn't look bad. And as far as if we're going to talk about video shoots in Bravo shows, the guy Rage is doing it. At least it's like a reputable director
Yeah.
for this video. Like, do I think the friends need to be in it? No.
No.
That's rule number one. Don't put your friends in the music videos if you're a housewife artist. It takes away from the validity of it, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
But we see Allison kind of standing near Ralph, and she's getting emotional because watching her sister kind of perform and watching her sister do her thing. It's been a while since she's been in the fold with her, and they were really close throughout Drew's entire career. So this is kind of a moving moment, and I thought it was nice. I'll give him credit for Ralph to stroll over there and give her a hug and kind of squash the beef, I guess, and just. Again, I don't know why it took this. Why did it take her crying for you to like bite the bullet and be the bigger person?
I don't know. I'm not going to even go that far. I'm just going to say it was nice that he at least walked over. And maybe what he needed was Drew's mom to be there because it looks like him and Drew's mom have a pretty good relationship. So he needed that extra sort of layer of security. But you should also be able to find that in your wife. So I don't really understand why now he felt more comfortable to do that because it was a group setting, maybe. Maybe he was just genuinely scared. Maybe we're not getting the whole story. Maybe there was more and he's not talking about it on camera.
Maybe he's just an asshole.
Maybe he's just an asshole. I really don't know. But at the end of the day, it was nice. And it looked like Allison genuinely appreciated him coming over and giving her a hug. Like she broke down a little bit more. So we can kind of just move on from all of this.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. And it ends with Marlo getting ready for her date. This is where we get the conversation about, she wants some eye candy with some ching ching. And look, who doesn't, right? Like if you're getting back out into the dating pool and now you have 2 kids and you're not going to go out there and date just anybody. Like you have some standards.
Yep.
I just didn't want her to set her standards too high as she's getting out here into dating. And we end up getting to the dinner date. Before that, she gets into it with Drew again because she feels the need to FaceTime her because she wasn't invited to the video shoot. Why would you be invited to the video shoot? I don't see why she took umbrage with not being invited to the video shoot, but she takes umbrage with not being invited to the video shoot, calls Drew on the phone to, I guess, squash it. Not really, because she's trying to start a little bit of shit with her.
I took it as she thinks that she wasn't invited to the video shoot because there's this lingering issue with Drew and she doesn't want the lingering issue to be there. And I thought that, obviously, aside from hanging up at the end, I thought that Marlo was fine. I thought that she was the one who was even keeled the whole time. Drew was the one who was popping off.
I agree.
And Drew's really only popping off. Again, she's using this whole, I was attacked after my show, blah, 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 whatever. You weren't. Marlo was feeling some type of way. She has clearly some emotions toward this whole thing. They're directed at Kandi, not you. You're stepping in the way and you're making this whole thing about you. For you to then pop off again on the phone is stupid. Just who cares? Marlo wasn't aggravating the situation. She said, yeah, it is what it is. I didn't feel blah, blah, blah. She wasn't being emotional in this situation. She was just trying to squash it. Drew clearly doesn't want to squash it, which is also fine, whatever. And she hung up on her. I think all things were appropriate.
I think that was my take, is that for Drew, it probably seems like too little, too late, or just too little in general for her to, out of the blue, call her. And Drew's also going to know that she's FaceTime her because she knows that she's not invited to the shoot. Like, she knows what the intention behind this one is. So I don't think that Drew needs to be fully accepting of the apology. Could she have been more open to it? For sure.
I don't think that she's going to, because Kandi doesn't want to do anything with Marlo anymore. So why would she?
That's
and
what
if
it comes
Drew
down
ends up accepting an apology, then she's afraid that Kandi's going to give her shit for it. And at the end of the day, Drew has to be near Kandi. That's my take on it.
That's not a bad take, but it ends with the date. The date seems to go really well. They connect on all different kinds of levels. They've both done a little bit of time, 6 months to be exact. So I genuinely think that's kind of nice, because he's not going to hold that one thing against her that everybody else holds against her. So that's kind of like starting from an actual clean slate, which is great. Like, if she can be happy with this dude, awesome. What I don't need to hear anymore from anybody on any any of the shows on the network. I don't want to hear dirty talk anymore because it never lands. I hope in the moment it
This
lands.
wasn't as bad as
It's not, but it's still like I hope that while they're sitting there, like the chemistry is real and like that actually hits how
I
it's
think it
supposed
was.
to.
I think that Marlo genuinely accepted it, and
But it's weird. To
it was
watch.
weird. It was weird.
Let
Like
me
he
see you
mentioned,
suck it. It's like,
well, he mentioned
gross.
before he got the oysters were coming out, and he's like, "Yeah, you know, oysters are an aphrodisiac." It's
Yeah,
like,
but you,
okay.
we
I
gotta-
hate when people do that. It's
I
like,
do
okay.
too. Why does everyone have to announce that oysters are
I don't know, because everybody's horny.
Like, clearly, if you're introing the dinner with oysters and announcing aphrodisiac, you're trying to fuck.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to do. But the date goes well. He's got 3 kids, 15, 2 and 1.
Yeah,
Wasn't
2 and 1
expecting
was
2 and 1.
unsettling. Yeah.
Wasn't expecting 2 and 1. I'm not saying it means he's a bad dude. I'm just saying there's going to be more to this story. I'm glad the first date goes well. I like the guy.
I liked him too. I liked his drink order, a little smoky old fashioned. I liked that he, in spite of it being in a strip mall, I thought that it looked like a pretty nice restaurant overall.
The facade.
Yeah, like the
facade.
ability to have somebody sitting there making you drinks like right at the table, pretty cool.
I thought.
So I think that speaks to maybe it being a little bit higher of a restaurant than it's getting credit for being in a strip mall. I think overall it was a lovely time. I think that he rolled the red carpet out for her. He got her like 3 fucking dozen roses.
I know
That's a
the
lot of
rose was
roses.
a big. I like that move. Actually,
I like
That was
it.
that was a.
What's
good
your take
move.
on flowers though?
Oh,
Like overall.
this is gonna sound.
Your
like
wife's gonna listen to this.
I know. You can ask Deb. I get her flowers frequently.
Yeah.
I get her flowers a lot. If I see them, I usually buy. Like I'll get her like the super nice flowers for special occasions. But I do tend to, if I pass some flowers in the store, I'll snag a bouquet and just bring them home.
Yeah. I remember one time this was years ago in a past relationship, I got a bouquet of flowers, just a just because thing. And as I was checking out, the cashier said, "What'd you do wrong?" It's like, God damn it.
No, yeah, no, I like to get Deb flowers. But that takes us back to RHOC, and we start out with a scene with Emily and her daughter. And we heard last episode that Annabelle is attempting or wants to get into modeling. And we see Emily take Annabelle to a modeling agency, LA Modeling, whatever, like the most generic name in the world. But they're running through it with these people about like what it takes. Then they do some like practice photos, and big props to Emily for being as involved as she is with her kids, because she talks about a few times how she feels as though her mom was not there for her. So I'm glad that she's kind of doing the opposite end of the spectrum and like being there for everything. But I feel a certain way about like making kids be models and the pageant thing. Like, again, it ties into like the dance mom and like children actors. Like, I don't know. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I can't help
I
it.
don't know. In this, it usually does. I agree with you there. But it sounds like her daughter like actually wants to be a model, and she's talked about it. So I've seen enough from Emily to think that she's a good mom, not like one of those crazy pageant
agree.
moms. And I think that she's just saying, look, like, if this is something you want to do, let's try it out. See if you actually want to do it. It's kind of like when your kid wants to play like 15 different sports. It's like, all right, pick your top 3. We'll see what happens. And you might abandon it after the first week when you realize how tough practice is or whatever. This is kind of like in that realm. Just see what happens. Look, I mean, there are like children's clothing lines and stuff like that. So you need children models, as weird as it is. The idea of children models is weird to me. I don't think it's about, like, some people exploit it because they want money from their kids, and that's weird. There is a very dark and weird part of that whole world, but this didn't seem like that to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's.
It seemed genuine. It seemed like
didn't seem malicious.
no, not at all. And it seemed like her daughter actually wants to try it, so let her try it out.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know.
I agree. Yeah,
It's more of a me thing,
it's
but
weird.
the next scene, we get one of our favorite setups. We get a little juxtaposed scene, and it's Gina. And then she's shopping. Everyone's shopping for their pre-Montana outfits, and it's juxtaposed to Jenn. And I believe they're in the same store, just across the store from one another. But Gina's getting back into the fact that she has some issues with infidelity. I mean, obviously, who doesn't? But specifically with the fact that Jenn seems to speak on it from a, I don't want to say victim standpoint, but she definitely plays the role of I did what I had to do because
She
I was
justifies her action.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, and I'm so tired of this storyline already. It's such bullshit that we're giving her more light to do this.
No, I agree. And I think that Gina says it really well. It's like, this makes me mad. Like, I'm mad because of this. And it's like, you should be. If you've been scorned in an affair and then you have to sit and listen to the other side of it, the one that's doing it, Like, that's got to be hard to hear because now you're obviously in Gina's head, she's thinking about, oh, well, what did my ex say to like
Yeah.
justify his actions?
Yeah, no, it's just a tough conversation to have. And I don't, again, like we talked about it last week, I don't know why Jenn keeps doing it. I mean, I guess like Gina's brought it up now. Heather's brought it up. Emily's brought it up. So people keep bringing it up. And I
Jen brings
understand.
it up more than anybody.
I know, but and that's what I think that she thinks her calling card is in this whole show is that people are going to be fascinated by this story. It's like, no, we think it's dirty and gross. Move on. Like,
I think
the less you talk about it, the better.
you said it best. I think it was last week or
Yeah, I think that she's
prior.
using the whole emotional thing to hide the fact that it was physical.
Yeah, and
'Cause I'm focusing on that line that Tamra had last week where she said, where like Jenn and Ryan were all of a sudden missing and doing whatever they were doing, and maybe they were exploring each other's bodies. Like some people thought that it was a throwaway line. I think that's the truth.
I do.
I think they physically were intimate, and she's using this whole emotional thing as a way to kind of cloud over that so that people don't talk about it. But here's the thing, Jenn, and you might realize this. The more you talk about it on these shows, the more people are going to want to find out answers.
Yep.
If you talk about it once and then move on, talk about it in the group setting so everybody knows. I get it that people will bring it up, but try not to get too deep into it because people will come for that shit. And if more information comes out, I'll be there to say I told you so.
Yeah, and I think
Right
we're
there.
gonna, I'm not going to say that we're definitely going to see some more come out. However, the more information that we're getting now, the more damning it appears to be for me because one, Ryan has a reputation, which
Yeah,
is
and she's open about talking about that too.
I
That's even
know.
weirder.
As you're talking about his reputation, they were quote unquote on a break, and he Ross and Rachel'd her because he went and hooked up with somebody else that Tamra knows. So he wasn't even outside of the friend group, so to speak. And I think that to give you more credit for your theory, I think in her mind, she thinks if she's proactive and talks about it at length, we're going to believe that nothing else happened because, oh, she's so open. She's so ready to talk about it. It was all emotional. It had nothing to do with the physical aspect. And she wouldn't be this forthcoming with all this information if there was more information behind it. That's what she thinks.
I also think the Ross and Rachel thing is a very funny thing. Did Jenn say that or did I think Heather
Somebody
said
said that. Heather said that.
Okay,
It was
because if
Ross and
Jenn
Rachel.
said that, that's a really funny thing. And I didn't watch Friends, but I know enough about that. That the whole thing about the Ross and Rachel thing is either were they on a break or was it not a break? And when you kind of guise it like that, it sort of throws your whole idea of what this Jenn and Ryan thing is into complete doubt.
Yeah.
And that's like we talk about it all the time. If you're going to start a relationship by cheating, one, you're going to carry on this whole thing. We talked about Sandoval and Raquel. You want to carry on this whole thing. Oh, we're in love. This is perfect, whatever, to justify your cheating.
Yeah.
And you're going to do it for as long as possible. That's what's going on here. And also, your relationship's going to end the same way that it started, especially if Ryan has been cheating on everybody since he started relationships.
Arguably cheated on you.
Why are we talking about this on TV?
I don't know.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, keep the shit to yourselves. Maybe we won't dig into it too far, but don't go up against the Bravo sleuths. They'll tear you
They'll get ya.
piece by piece. We get a quick scene with Ryan and Jenn together. I don't like watching them together. I'm going to be honest. I don't like watching him Theragun her back.
No, that was
I like
uncomfortable
that
for
scene
me.
overall. But the next scene's Heather, and she's picking out her outfit from Montana and talking about the kids leaving. And this one is interesting only because of this sentence. When she says, I want to get back to LA. And then Terry, her husband, like shadows that or echoes that and goes, yeah, the restaurants up there are really good. Now, if we get a Heather move to LA, will we have a Heather Dubrow on Beverly Hills?
Probably.
That's what I think's happening.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that's happening. I think
that
that
makes
she,
sense.
I don't know if she's teasing it or if she's trying to force it, but I will say I do think that the next step eventually is Heather going to LA and Heather being in Beverly Hills again. Or not again, but Heather being a part of Beverly Hills.
I think that makes a lot of sense too. Obviously, Beverly Hills is going through some changes with Rinna out, so we'll see if there's an opportunity. But it would really suck if this season of Beverly Hills is really good, and then they throw Heather in there. I don't mind Heather necessarily too, and we'll kind of get into that. I think she's good for the show. I think she brings a different dynamic than other people do.
She's very sure of herself.
I'm more concerned about what OC would be without Heather.
Oh yeah,
because I think I like her, and I kind of like, and I talked about how I feel like the show's been kind of boring, This episode changed it a little bit for me because I saw all of them getting along, and then you get like a real problem that Heather and Taylor have together. Now, Taylor's not a main housewife. She's a friend of at this point, but I'm okay with how the show is going. You don't want to just lose for a show that seems to be dying. You don't want to lose one of the main people that people actually
I
like.
don't think you can afford to lose her,
No.
honestly. But Taylor and Tamra have a quick chat, and they're discussing. Well, first they're talking about sex with their husbands, but after that, they talk about how Taylor felt when Heather was talking to her about the acting role, and it was what we all saw too, and it was her kind of being like, "Oh, bless your heart. That's so sweet of
Yeah.
you. Like you want me in your little movie.
That's so cute.
Like, oh, exactly. That's so cute." And it's belittling. You're putting down her first movie ever that she's really excited about. I love the fact, even if it's not true, that they now need a audition tape from her. Like, if that's actually true, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
And I think that that'll make her want to do it more. Honestly, I bet me she does that tape.
Oh, she's absolutely going to do
Yeah,
that.
she
tape.
can't be
For
slighted
sure.
like that for sure. But we finally get to Montana. We are without Emily. She has COVID, or at least claims to have COVID. The more that we watch these shows and the more housewives that like tap out because of COVID, the more I start to think, I don't know how many of these women actually have had COVID. But we get to Montana, and the room situations are interesting. And this is what I like about this cast. And I don't know if it could be production behind the scenes trying to move things forward. It could just be they are actually trying to resolve things, which I like to think it's that, because we get Gina is willing to room with Jenn because she is willing to say, okay, just because I don't like how she's talking about this, maybe I just need to get her to know her better and we'll move past this together. I don't love it, but maybe there's a bridge forward. I like that. We get Tamra is trying to room with Shannon, or they do room together, because Tamra's doing everything she can on this trip to try to make things better with Shannon. She walked from room to room with her, like, do you want this one? It's so pretty. Do you want this one? It's so pretty. Do you want that? What do you want, Shannon? Like, you can tell she's trying to bend over backwards. It doesn't seem genuine to me.
No, I don't know, actually. I feel differently. I think that she actually does. I think Tamra actually feels bad. I think what's going on is we're not seeing a lot as far as apologies go. We're not seeing a lot as far as feeling bad for their past behavior from the Shannon side of things.
Right.
So I think what Tamra's doing is she's trying to be overly nice to get Shannon to apologize.
Oh.
And what'll happen in the next couple episodes is, and I'm just calling my shot here, Tamra's not going to get an apology from Shannon, and she's going to lash out.
She's going to start.
And she's going to say, I've been so nice to you. I've been trying to do so much for you. I've been trying to be welcoming. I've been trying to bring you back into my life, and you're not doing anything for me.
Puts it back on Shannon.
Yes.
Ah.
That's what I think's happening
I
here.
think that's a good call. But we get to the dinner, and Taylor tells the table that she's bisexual. I didn't know that she had a relationship with a woman for 5 years. Like, that's a relationship. That's a long
That's a
time.
long relation. That's,
So,
as she said, that's longer than a lot of people's marriages.
yeah, no. So I like that. That scene was nice for her to be open like that and share that with the table. And we get a little info from Jenn. She was a flight attendant, met her ex-husband on the plane. And Tam was like, first class. She's like, no, economy. It was economy. But he was in law school and X, Y, and Z. I was like, oh, okay. But the episode wraps up when they're in the saloon, and Shannon bailed early to put on her saloon attire, which I always appreciate effort. You know, when you're doing any kind of theme party, take the time to do it right. Nothing drives me crazier than when I go to like a costume party or a theme party and you get the people that are too cool to dress up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get that. Just buy in.
Yeah.
Buy in. It's always more fun when you buy in.
It's way more fun. Plus, if you don't buy in, people are just going to be asking you all night why you didn't buy in.
Yeah.
And that's way more annoying than just doing it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it, and then you won't have. Just do something small. You know what I mean? Just do something small and just point to that, and it's a big joke. Whatever. Great. Done.
But while they're at the saloon, Shannon and Tamra have another conversation, and I thought that the timing of this was so fucking funny because Shannon's like, let's just start slow. And the next thing Tamra says, I love you. And I was like, whoa, that's too fast. That's way too fast.
Well, they did have like 2 or 3 shots in a row together.
They were ripping tequila shots. And she's like, let's start slow. I love you. Like, no, that's not it. That's not slow, but I love you too. And she forced an I love you too out of Shannon. And then the confessional with Shannon's like, we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see. Whereas previously it's like she needs to apologize for 2.5 years. Now it's we'll see. So
Yeah.
look, maybe
I just
they're
don't
coming
see
together.
it lasting all season.
I don't
These
see it
seasons
lasting
are
the Montana
long.
trip.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I can't see it lasting much longer than that. And that was the moment after they did that. Obviously, I had my feelings about what's going to happen with Tamra and Shannon, but that was the moment that I started to feel like you know what, I kind of like this show. It seems like everybody's at least getting along to the point that they can be in a room together.
Yeah.
How often do we have housewife shows where that one person hates the other person, they have to stay on other sides of the room, and it's not fun, and all we talk about is the drama within. It seems like OC, we might be able to just have that fun show that we want.
I hope so.
Where they're doing things. They went to fucking Montana. That's cool. I want to go to Montana. It
I
sounds
do
sick.
too.
That would be a good time for the bros. But, oh my God, for the Brav Bros.
For the
My voice
Bravs.
just crapped out on me. But no, that would be a lot of fun. Let them go do things. Let them have parties. Let them have fun together. And yeah, obviously more shit's going to come out, like what's going on between Heather and Taylor. But then they make up afterwards and then they start fighting about it afterwards. It seems like a genuinely good show without orchestrated drama. And that's what we need.
I agree. And with Heather and Taylor, they finally talk about the audition shit, and Taylor tells her exactly how she made her feel. You made me feel like it was beneath you, like you wouldn't do something like this because it was like a cute thing that I was doing because I just knew the director or whatever. And then I get defensive, and my defense mechanism is to be agreeable and kind of make fun of it too, and just kind of try to make light of the situation. But I felt a certain way about that. Do you think that you're too important for this role? And then she goes into her whole shtick again. It's like, there's a process to this. There's a protocol to this. I need to be approached by a producer or a director, or blah, 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 blah. Heather, we've seen the IMDb page. I'm not saying you were not an actor. You can't say that because you've been in a lot of things. You had a 22 episode run on a show in which you starred in. That's not a little thing. That's a big deal. I'll give you props there. Taylor was 100% saying that in a derogatory fashion, being like, yeah, 22 episodes, big whoop. Like,
yeah,
the IMDb page does not justify how she's acting about her acting career, because she's acting as though it's like Gina says, like both of these women are kind of going off the rails a little bit, because on one end, Taylor's making this a huge deal. Like, yes, there is actually a process like in which somebody should actually reach out and be like, hey, this is what we need from you. Would you be interested? Fair. On the flip side of that, Heather's acting like Taylor disregarded her 5 Oscars that she's won and not being respectful of her lustrous career.
Yeah, I think that Taylor is correct in this. Now,
Oh, I do too.
it's funny because when I watched it, I kind of agreed with Heather a little bit, because I agree in the sense that Taylor shouldn't be talking to other people about her IMDb page and kind of like mocking her career. I understand she worked really hard for her career and then she took it on pause so that she could be a mother. Makes sense to me. That's fine. For Heather to be sitting there saying, wait, they weren't impressed with my IMDb page. You haven't done anything since 1999.
Right.
What is there to be impressed about? It's 24 years ago.
Right.
I think it's cool. That's fine. But if I'm thinking about you for a role now, you are out of practice for 24 years.
24 years,
That's a long time. I'm not going to get a job in my industry if I take a 24-year break to podcast.
Think about how many like A-list actors fade off into the distance because they have a bad movie and then you just don't hear about them.
Exactly.
And those are people that are actively doing it.
Yeah. So for Taylor to, and Heather tries to throw Taylor under the bus by saying it wasn't your call to make. Maybe not, but it's her call to bring somebody in for the role. And at least she's giving you a shot, which 2 episodes ago, you're telling your husband and your kids, I want to just get back out there and I got to get my feet wet and I don't really care what it is. I just want to get back to practicing what I love doing.
Here you go.
Here's your opportunity. Don't act like you're bigger than now because you haven't acted in 24 years, because you have an IMDb page. Steele and I probably have an IMDb page at this point in time because no, I'm just joking. But Steele's going to look it up right now.
100%.
But no, it's just ludicrous to me that you think that you should be able to just rise above all of this and get the role right away, while you belittled it by saying, oh, that's cute. That's so fun. That's great. Yeah, no, that would be great. And then say that you don't think that she was serious. Like, no, you want to get back in, just get the fuck back in there and do what you need to do in order to get that role so that you can have some practice.
At the very least, it's practice. Second, if you go in for another audition, they say, what have you done recently? You can say, oh, I did a little movie in Oklahoma. It wasn't a big role. But that was the other thing. Taylor's trying to backtrack and like not be an asshole about the situation. And she's saying after the audition tape comes up. She's like, you need an audition tape. She's like, oh, and the way that Heather's playing it is really not helping her either. Because now she's like laughing at the process and she's like, oh yeah, now I'm just not good enough for the role. And Taylor's like, it's a bigger role than mine. It's actually more important than my role. But like, yeah, you need to read for it. And you couldn't even take the time to pick up the script off of the table.
Yeah.
Take it home with you. Like, for you to now act as though you've been slighted in this big way because your career is being disregarded is so dumb. Like, that's the wrong stance to take.
No, you should just be grateful for the opportunity.
If nothing else, say thank you. You haven't even said thank you.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like,
you thought it was a joke. And then when you realized it wasn't a joke, you should have had a serious conversation.
But you didn't. You mocked it.
Yep.
And then you got butthurt when more was asked of you for this role because you thought you were a shoo-in. But again, your IMDb page does not offer you the luxury of being a shoo-in.
Yeah.
It does not.
Nope.
You haven't done shit in 24 years. Make a fucking audition tape. Help your friend out. Get the role. Get your feet wet. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. It's as easy as that.
But that takes us to the question portion of the show. And up first, we have... From Ali Vargas, is Tamra trying too hard to make a comeback after being on pause? It feels performative. What I thought was in her confessionals are giving it away for me because she's trying to come up with catchy lines. She's trying to say like, oh, is her vagina too meaty? Like there's a procedure for that. And then later she's like, oh, is there something wrong? Like you need some cranberry juice for your UTI? Like it seems too forced. She seems to me like she's trying to be iconic, quote unquote.
I get that. I think that's who she is though.
Maybe, but I don't know. I think she's trying to play it up. From Robin of Loxley, are you entertained by this show? It's been such a snooze this season in regards to Atlanta.
We are. Atlanta's fun for me.
He speaks for both of us.
Yeah. I don't really see an issue. Again, when we go back and we watch previous seasons, because we will do that with Atlanta because we're enjoying it so much, maybe we will have a different outlook. But right now, in a nutshell, I don't have an issue with this season.
I don't either. Let's do one more. Oh, I like this one. From Carol Gebhardt. Are you jealous? We have the hot Kelsey, #Chiefs Kingdom, but I also love the Brav Bros heart emoji.
Fuck you.
Yep.
Jason Kelsey's way better looking than Travis.
Absolutely. Jason Kelsey's better looking. He is a legend in this city. He will go down in the Hall of Fame. He is...
Well, so will Travis.
Treasure. It's irrelevant. That's not the point. That's absolutely not the point. Chiefs stink. You guys got lucky last year. It's not going to happen again. Pat Mahomes is a nerd. Travis Kelsey's fine, I guess.
I like their podcast.
Fantasy a lot. I do pick him on fantasy almost every year.
Every year.
He's a shoo-in for me. But other than that, fuck the Chiefs.
It's just a good-looking family, you know?
The Kelseys?
The Kelseys.
Yeah, they are a good-looking fam. Yeah. Fuck Kansas City.
We're getting ready for football season, baby. It's
so
June
excited,
29th.
Man, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I was watching soccer, and I just saw the crowd getting all into it. They did a quick close up of some of the fans.
Are you watching the Gold Cup?
I don't know. I don't know what honestly. It was
the Nations or was it?
It was on in the background.
Oh, okay.
But they panned the stands and everyone was getting so into it, and I was like, God, I missed that with the Birds. I need the Eagles to come back now. This is the hardest time of the year. I think is July.
We have the World Cup next year too.
That'll help.
Did you see that Philly is now getting more games than they thought they would?
They should.
Which means they'll get they'll get group stage, and then they'll end up getting quarterfinals or semifinals.
I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. But make sure you get your tickets for the World Cup. This podcast is sponsored by FIFA. Not really.
That would be sick. Take that corruption money.
But that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope. I will see you next week, hopefully with a better voice.
Yep. And remember to buy those tickets July 26th, City Winery in Manhattan. We'll see you there. Follow us at Brav_Bros on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, on YouTube. We are at Brav Bros Podcast. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a few 5-star reviews while you're at it. Help us out. I don't think you guys understand how much 5-star reviews help us. But if you're sitting there and you're bored while you're listening to us, just click the 5-star button. You don't even have to leave a review. Just click that little button.
Click a little button.
Click a little button.
Just say you're enjoying it.
Even if it's a 4-star guy.
All right. Easy.
Even if it's a 3.
Nope.
Even if it's
All right, we got to cut this thing
Oh,
off.
God. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.